future. I don't know how many people know what everybody's future is. But I know there's certain people that they definitely know what's happening in my entire life. Then there's others that may only know like a day in advance. I thought about that. You know, like the King Boss guy, he would already know the future, because this is a very unusual nightmare, dreamland, Matrix, Truman Show. And it's as if when people have shown me that they know what the future is because they've already seen it, then at the same time, those people that have servants under them, maybe they have, like in my life, maybe they've been given like a days in advance ability to see what goes on in my life. But at the same time, their boss lied to them about my future. Even though he'll let them see a day's 24 hours in advance, like, you know, Back to the Future. It's an actual real thing. Like the Back to the Future movie, you think, oh, that'd be cool, but well, that's exactly what they're doing. But see, Michael J. Fox is the good guy in the Back to the Future. He's just trying to make sure that the future stays the same. Because if he doesn't make sure of that, then it's going to change. It alters the entire future. And that's why I believe that what we're seeing here is we're seeing the Antichrist, who is trying to change the times, the seasons, and the laws. Trying to change Scripture's prophecy. Things that have already been fulfilled as if they're not fulfilled. Things that have been fulfilled as if they're not. And then things that, you know, vice versa. I don't know exactly which ones are which, but that's how I see it. And I think of Jacob Israel all the time. And if there was anybody similar to the Jacob Israel spirit, it would be Stephen James DeShawn. And then considering how, you know, John Quentin Wise, and he's always talking to his other character, Jonathan No Lion, and then Gene Revel at the same time, I believe, as Jacob Israel. Jacob Israel is Stephen James DeShawn with Gene Revel's, you know, was a good guy on my side, but against his brother Jonathan Click, who has a mote in his eye, and Stephen James is erecting a beam in his at his residence because there's a beam in his own eye. I don't know why he's so concerned about Jonathan Click, his brother, but definitely is erecting a beam trying to crush the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Now, you can erect a beam on top of the Lion of the tribe of Judah. You can crush him all you want. But you're erecting a beam on top of him, and the foundation is the rock. So yeah, why wouldn't you start building your beams on a solid foundation like the Lion of the tribe of Judah? And by the way, Jonathan Click drew all the he's the artist. He's the one that owns the Philadelphia Art Museum. He's the one that owns the U.S. currency, the artwork on it. He's the one that folds it up and shows you the bombings. They are identical, the Twin Towers, for sure. And then on the $20 bill, you fold those up, they turn into pyramids, turn them upside down, Liberty 1, Liberty 2 in Philadelphia. It could be stopped, I don't know, I mean, but, or it's just gonna happen and I can just see it. So, those of you that can see portions of the future, if I'm telling you the truth, because I don't know, I'm just speculating, guessing. You know, like Jacob Israel's channel, I'm just speculating. I don't know nothing. I'm not from the inside. I don't have any inside knowledge. It's not like I'm the one writing the scripts, pretending I don't even know anything. I'm just like a meatball. No. I really don't know anything. I just guess and throw stuff up and see what sticks. And that's how I get my answers. Why am I so concerned about getting answers? Because I found the people that run the whole system, and I want to know when does it stop? Like, when does at what moment does it prove out that God does exist and this world turns into heaven instead of the hell that we're in? Because you obviously see the future, that's why I want to know. But you also got these sorcerers and soothsayers, and because you got these remember when King Nebuchadnezzar, Steve, remember when you tried to get your flunkies to interpret your dreams that you're talking about? And like that tree, the head of gold, and all these other kingdoms that are going to come up after you, like you know, Derek Rose comes up, and Jacob Israel, and Jonathan Kleck. Aren't you that head of gold? And if that's the case, then doesn't that make you Donald Trump too? Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is so concerned about his brother Kamala Harris's mote in her eye, but yet there's a beam in Donald Trump's own eye. And if anyone had the same character as Donald Trump, it's Stephen James DeShawn, because he's abrasive. He's you know, he's funny at times, and like Trump is. But I'm just tired of the insults of Kamala Harris, Mary Magdalene. I'm tired of it because you're all guilty of the same thing, which is lying, committing adultery on God. Because you're all lying. Trump, you didn't really get shot in the ear, and you know it, and I know it, and 99% of the world doesn't know it. So there's that part right there. Drop your stones. And Allah is gonna rise. And I got Kamala's back. How you like that? How do you like that, Trump? But it's not just because I'm tired of the insults of Mary Magdalene getting pushed around. It's just that that's part of the script, and she comes in and takes over, and then finances the ministry of Christ to continue on. Because if you get in, Hitler, then, you know, I mean, you may not be, you just may see when the rapture comes about, this fake rapture, because really the rapture already took place individually. But when the rapture comes around and the alien invasion takes place and the disappearing acts of everybody, I believe Donald Trump is going to not be found, just like Hitler. And Kamala stays in, but she's going to be looked at as, you know, I guess the Antichrist. Her and Prince, because Tim Walz is really Prince behind a white man's suit. They were talking about, they had that conversation at the one place, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, and Kamala was talking about how she loves Prince's, you know, like basically what I got was Tim Walz is Prince, because nobody really dies. You guys don't die. You can be straight, you can be homosexual, you can be whatever. You don't die. You just hop into another suit, and that's what the secret is. Where we go when we die. And then to think we're going to go somewhere else, it's going to be torment. And this is hell here. This is what Satan's running the system, so he'll lie to you and tell you you're going to go somewhere else. That's hell. To act like he's not here running this place. And then you're stuck in you're just stuck all the time. But isn't that funny how Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, Donald Trump's throwing stones at Kamala, and Kamala's defending herself with Trump. But again, at the same time, you're all involved in the same script. And you all know that nobody's really dying in these events and the stuff they're saying overseas. And I don't even really believe there is an overseas. I just believe everybody's fake. And everybody on the news that sounds like they're from Britain or England or whatever, they're all just actors, and they're not even, that's not even how they really look or sound. So I wonder if there's even a country outside of this Truman Show bubble. Or maybe, yeah, everything outside of this Truman Show is real, but inside of this bubble, it's all fakery, and everybody's fake and lying and scared to go against our boss, Stephen James DeShawn, the devil in the pit. And who's the above ground match 2020? Jonathan Kleck. Who's the one in that commercial? The devil is downstairs, Stephen James, and then the above ground insect race, Jonathan Kleck, is like the main one. So don't let the face fool you, the face of a man. Don't let that fool you. That means nothing. It's just like Adam and Eve. The serpent beguiled Eve. So if the serpent beguiled Eve, does that mean she had sex with her brother Adam? Well, obviously, if they're brother and sister, Adam and Eve. Was it said that was her? Was it said at any point that Adam and Eve are brother and sister? Or it's supposed to be that Eve was taken out of his side and created from him, so it's not actually his sister? But when John Fleck shows that movie about the woman seducing her brother and then having a child, she dressed up like she got into a different female suit as the guy's brother. I guess that was the king. And then she wanted to have a child, that way their child can be the next king. So Eve was beguiled by the serpent, which is a thought. The serpent is a thought. If you're looking at a serpent as a physical person, well, yeah, Stephen James DeShawn definitely fits the characteristics of the actual serpent because of all the lies and everything about me. I've been confused. I thought Johnny Kleck was the serpent in the garden. He could just be more like Eve, who was beguiled by the serpent. And because look how slick Stephen James DeShawn is. I mean, he's even at times, he's so good at lying and and manipulating people that at times he did make me think for a minute, like, wait a minute, am I lying? He's so convincing that, no, wait, I'm not lying, he's lying. Like, that's how good you are, Steve. I'll give it to you. You are definitely cunning and subtle. More subtle than any of the beasts of the field. But you're going to crawl upon your belly all the days of your life. Because Eve is ratting you out. And that's why it's always been confusing, the male and female in the Bible, because you have these characters that fit both, and it's like, wait, no, well, that's a dude. No, Rob, no, it's just a costume. They're just dressed up. They take on many characters in the Bible right now, but they dress up in different uniforms and outfits and change their voices from male to female. And I can go with the flow, the way things naturally progress, but at the same time, I also have to do work. And if I don't question everything, nobody's going to be willing to give me any answers. And Jonathan Kleck seems to be the one that really wants to give me all the answers. Jonathan Kleck's the one, that channel is the one that does the most work out of everybody in the entire planet, out of every YouTube channel I've ever come across. There may be people that they get up more, like, I don't know, like Paul Begley. Would you get up every single day? I think you do live streams a couple times a day. Maybe even Christopher Green gets up. Jacob Israel probably gets up a lot. But I'm talking about tangible work, like things that matter. Not the bullshit, lies, fakery, fear porn pushing. Although at times, you know, when Jonathan Kleck says we're all gonna die, and you know, but everything's gonna be fine. Define the word die, all right? And then to die in this world, that's the greatest thing that can happen to you, because then you're set free. But that's only if you know the truth. What if you don't know the truth? Where do you go then? Let's just say a child dies, he's 5 years old, he doesn't know Jesus. Where's he going? To hell? To the pit? Why? Because he didn't find Jesus yet? What happens with what happens if you lie with a woman and you're married to her, and you lie with her, and only one sperm cell makes it? What happens to all the others? Where do all the other sparks of life go? Do they die, right? So their souls, before entering into a womb, what if they die, right? And every man gets his own planet when he dies, and that's the reward. But also the punishment is your entire life when you're living this earth, all the lies that you believe that Satan told you, you believed it, and you lived uncomfortably. You weren't free in your mind, and you're roaming around, and it's like, and then you finally die, and you wake up on a planet where it's nothing but your children, all the children that died, whether you even had a child or not. You can have children, but all the other sperm cells, they don't make it. So where do they go? I think that would be the best thing, is every person that every person, I don't know how it works for female women, but let's just say me, for instance, when I'm done this earth here, this one here, my world is waiting for me with all my children, all my kids from all the years that never made it into a womb of a woman to get birthed. So I have like millions of children, and my whole planet is populated with all of my own DNA. A world where every one of my kids are going to have the same type of, they're all going to be different, but the same mentality, the same heart, the same, you know, just the same everything like that. That would be fantastic. But in the meantime, the punishment really is just for everybody. It's not that anybody did anything wrong. It's the system itself. It's the way God decided to make it, where Satan gets first dibs. The moment you're birthed, you're plugged into the matrix. You're still not completely birthed into heaven yet, because this is the womb. The matrix, even in the Bible, the word matrix is translated as womb. So as we're birthed once, but we're still, even though we're birthed into the matrix, once we die, the moment we die and get unplugged, we're now fully birthed into eternity, and that's where we start living our life. We're all lied to down here to make it seem like this is all you got, and people are afraid of death because they have no idea where they're going, and they'll do whatever just to stay alive. Like if someone points a gun at your head and they tell you you denounce Jesus or whatever they tell you, and if you don't, they're putting a bullet in your head and you're done right there. How many people don't want to die? Opposed to the moment they pull that trigger, you are in eternity forever in peace and harmony. Do you believe that? How many people really believe that? Because you just don't know, right? Well, I believe that I can go into the art museum and record footage from YouTube's videos that are going to line up with mine, and it did, and I did, and it happened, and I did it again, and I did 13 songs, and then I didn't control it, where I think if I would have not played the commercials, I don't think the universe would have allowed it, because that means that I was trying to control it too much. I wasn't trying to control the outcome. I just had faith that I tapped into another realm of time, and I can pull that timeline and match my imagery at that exact moment, but only if I allow the universe to still flow through, which is letting the random commercials play, not knowing how long, if it's a 5-second skip, if it's a 15-second non-skip commercial, and then there are 2 of them in a row. I have no idea, but that's why I believe it worked. Also is because I'm not a control freak, but I am demonstrating that I can do that, and then allow the universe to travel through it as well, and that's what happened. So that's what my faith told me, and then my faith also tells me the second I'm done here, that's when I finally get to live, because I won't have it, the flesh. The flesh is where, you know, you got all this, you have pain, and it's just not going to be like that. There's no more suffering in your new body. So there's nobody else on planet Earth that does more relevant work on YouTube than Jonathan Clegg, in my eyes. Others can be up all the time to talk about whatever. You're not talking about the things that are relevant. like Akhenaten and Nefertiti, Akhenaten and Nefertiti. All the imagery that is identical to my baby picture is like, this is dreamland again. I have these two figures that are above me, above my shoulder. One of them is holding me in, I believe, her arms, like Eve. It's like Eve is up there, but there's like a serpent above Eve, and it looks like the Kiss singer because his tongue's sticking out. And then the mother figure, father, is like a Nephilim, a giant. And I'm not sure if at some point it just seems like, you know, I've been told that I'm dead. I've heard this many times from Stephen James. You're dead. You're in a valley of the shadow of death. All right, well, how did I get here? Did my brother hit me on the head with a rock like Cain did with Abel? Was it something from birth? Was I a sheep and they didn't want me in the system? So, or was I 9 months old in that picture? And that was the last, maybe that picture was my last breath. And that's when they sacrificed me, when I was like 9 months old. Because you know how the Masons like to do things, they like to try to fulfill things literally. So it's like you're 9 months pregnant, and then once you're birthed into the world, well then you're like 9 months pregnant into the world is pregnant of you. Before you're birthed into the world, your mom is pregnant of you, and then you're birthed into the world, and then the world is pregnant of you, and then they have 9 months to decide whether or not they want to sacrifice you as a baby. And then they sacrificed me at 9 months old. Maybe I can't really tell exactly how old I was in that picture, but I don't think I was more than a year old. And that could be the reason why the divorce happened between Stephen James DeShawn and Jonathan Kleck. The divorce that happened, because once the baby was already out, you know, mommy and daddy. It's like, mommy, daddy, why hast thou forsaken me all these years? And if nobody's seen the baby picture, you have no idea what I'm talking about, and I don't make any sense. But that's fine, because I'm talking to mom and dad right now. Dear mom and dad, here's what I found out about yous. Yous had an ugly divorce. You definitely have been separated, like Jacob and Esau, like Cain and Abel, like Adam and Eve, like Mary and Joseph. Not separated, but I mean, whatever happened to Joseph anyway? Mary and Joseph. Jesus, you know what? One thing I thought was like, his mother could actually be his sister, but it could also be his wife, and it could also be Mary. Could also be his mother. She could be Mary Magdalene. She can be Mary, his sister. Because, but at the same time, all in spirit form relationship and has nothing to do with sexual. Because there's let's see, how could that be? How could Jesus' mother be his sister? Well, that would be if his father had the daughter, and then he mated, the father mated with the daughter, and then had him, and then he was technically from the mother, which was his sister, and then the mother becomes a like an intimate relationship through spirit form, and then therefore his mother is actually his like wife, but technically his sister, because his father, who had his mother, which was his daughter, he had his daughter and then mated with her, and then she had little baby Jesus, but really technically that would be, it's supposed to be his sister, because it came from his mother. Yeah, something like, however that works, in spirit form alone. You know, if it was true. I like to think of different scenarios of everything that's possible, because it is. Because that's how they do it. They don't waste anything. They don't waste any room, they don't waste any time. If one person is going to be your brother, well, he also needs to be your father, your mother, your father, or your brother, your cousin. So the magic spell, the king's, what was it, the king's sister dressed up? So that reminds me of, like, let's say Jonathan Kleck was, let's say, well, all right, what are you saying, Steve, again? Jonathan Varga Kleck, 1677, it's talking about this, that, breeding the beautiful woman. It's just the other thing is written up about the name Jonathan Kleck. What do you mean, beautiful woman? That's a dude. Well, I'm sure that dude can dress up as a beautiful woman, seduce her brother into getting pregnant, having a child, and who knows, maybe the brother didn't like that fact when he was tricked and wanted to have the baby aborted, and then that baby was aborted afterwards, and then that caused the breakup. I don't know, I'm not sure, but what I am sure of is that the possibilities of all of it being true is surely very possible. Let's see, what else is there? There's times I just don't have the time and to figure the things out at home. I'll just talk it out loud through this long traffic jam that shouldn't really be, you know, after 9 o'clock it should be pretty cleared up, but I'm sure there's a reason for it, because there always is. And yeah, what was it that the serpent beguiled Eve with? To sleep with her brother? Who knows? But also, Eve being the serpent in the garden, the V shape, the woman, the middle ground, the garden in the middle, the serpent in the garden. The serpent is inside of the garden, so therefore it's like a concealed weapon. What do you think King Nebuchadnezzar's... Why do you think King Nebuchadnezzar was so proud of his hanging garden? He was so proud of his hanging garden. and St. Peter's Pecker's Altars parking lot in front of the art museum. One way is Adam, which is up. The other way is down, the serpent race. Eve was beguiled by the serpent. The serpent was in the garden. The garden is like a bushy type of a hairy kind of, you know, like bushes and gardens and things like that, and the V shape in the middle of the garden itself. The female reproductive system, and the serpent is in the garden. The woman, for those of you that know, you know, I've never seen it. I don't know. I only know by it through spirit form. That's the thing. The whole world is, it's like Noahide laws. Everybody's going to hide. Because if you don't, if you are found, if you're found just flaunting, showing what you got, I'm not supposed to see that. And if that happens, you get beheaded because it gets chopped off. You're not supposed to, you're supposed to conceal your weapon. That means male and female. You know, when Lucifer came down here, I believe Lucifer, all he did was he showed everybody down here on earth what it's like in heaven. So before you get to heaven, you can enjoy being male and female on earth, and you don't need a mate. You're just like, you know. That's why men will turn into female. It's not because they're gay. It's because now they have their own wife. So it's like this. I understand why you would do it, because in heaven, that's what we look like. That's what we are. We're male and female. Well, we're neither or, which makes you both. You're either neither male or female, or either male and female. If you're neither male or female, it just means you're both. It means you're complete. What is the number of man? 666. There's still a 333.3033 remaining to be 1000%. So I believe Lucifer, the reason he got kicked out, like Stephen James DeShawn got kicked out and he's down here on earth right now, like King Nebuchadnezzar for the past 7 years, so proud of his hanging garden. It means he was the longest lasting king. So proud of it. So it's like, why don't you accept my offer, Lord? Because I accept Jonathan Kleck's offer better. Yeah, but he was offering a sheep. Right. That's right. That's what he offered. What you're offering is prideful and arrogant and you know, good for you, King. You're gonna, you know, you're gonna have your kingdom back, but you have to learn, even though you've already seen it, but you still have to experience it for the first time regardless. Even if you can see my future and you know exactly what I'm gonna do day in and day out, there still has to be a certain point where you're experiencing that for the first time. The results each and every day of, oh, well, yeah, that's exactly what Robin is doing, what had already been written. So Abel's offer was more acceptable in God's eyes than Cain's offer, because the house of Cain, when it stops, it's because the house of Cain was brought to his knees. Now, I don't know if that means both knees are bad, maybe needs knee surgery, or just the fact that the house of Cain is brought to his knees. Does that mean that Cain prays to God, or he's just brought to his knees where it's just like submission, like, all right, enough. Fine, Robin, you got us. It's over. But when does it end? I don't know. Whenever my bank account is filled to the brim and I don't have to sit in traffic anymore, dreading 8 hours of wasting my life just to live, to be able to pay the bills. It's stupid. I wasn't born into money, so I don't have the privilege of, you know, whatever, any of that stuff. Like some people are just blessed to be born that way. I don't know what it's like. Not in this world, not yet. But I'm trying to create it for the rest of my children. That way they will be blessed and they wouldn't have to go through this grind. And they'll appreciate it from birth because I'll make sure of it. You can have everything in the world and still be grateful. But most people, when they have access to doing whatever, it's greed and arrogance takes over, and that's why Stephen James and Jacob Israel remind me of the same person. Reminds me of Jonathan Kleck's twin, Cain. Reminds me of the evil one, pride, arrogance. You're named after a wizard, aren't you, Merlin? Bowie, dying, suffering. Stephen James always talking about a black dog and lying through his teeth about me all the time. Why would I accept your offer? You're a liar. I like Jonathan Kleck's offer more. His blood is crying out. That's what it sounds like. Sounds like he was already slain, like me. And he's really communicating up in heaven. But at the same time, seems like he's down here. I don't know. I mean, I'll find out at some point, right? But that's why you remind me of Jacob Israel, Steve. Because you're both liars. Like, just non-stop. If you're talking about me, you're lying. But also at times read between the lines. Read between the lions. Read between the lies. Jacob, I haven't watched in a while. I'm not interested in really, because even though I know you're a character, you purposely stress, you purposely just lie about the things that you don't know, and I can't stomach it. So I'd rather not watch, and because I know it's not going to change. So I just tell that fox. And then even though I know you know what the future is and you're in control of it, I still, it's like, I don't know, I just don't care. I don't feel like, it's like that last bit of stomach test. Maybe it's something I'll get over when you start telling the absolute truth. I mean, that's all you really got to do. And then, but what does it matter? Huh, Jacob? What does it matter if I watch your videos or not? Even if John from Denver shows your videos, it's still like, it reminds me of Stephen James when he used to show Jethro's videos when I was done watching him, because he knew I wasn't watching, so he threw them up there to. I'm like, Steve, you keep showing his videos, I'm not going to watch yours either. And then he turned against me. Remember that, Steve? Remember when I wouldn't worship you when you're saying I never told you to, but yet you're implying it? Yeah, you never said it, but you're implying it, because that's the serpent's language. That's why your head's been wounded, because the language has been figured out. But I don't know. I don't know what happens with Donald Trump. I do feel like he's going to be raptured up out of here, though. Even though he's not going anywhere. It's just he's going to retire the Donald Trump suit and just keep hopping in the other ones. But that's why Kamala Harris will be looked at biblically as the Antichrist, because Donald Trump disappears with the rapture and everybody that disappears, and it's going to seem like everybody left on earth is, well, we're stuck here because we missed the rapture. No, we're fine. You just going to have to go through it. That's all. Because if you've already been raptured up out of here, that just means you got caught. You got caught up. You got... Yeah. So, yeah, this is definitely a new traffic jam, because I was supposed to be at work at 9:30, and then I hop onto this. I can't do a video unless I turn the Bluetooth off, because for some reason it like sucks the energy. It just kills it. I was supposed to get to work at 9:30, and I don't think I'm going to get there anytime soon. So it must have been something new. Usually I just figure it's because I'm here, and Steve likes to just play games like that. I don't know when you're going to grow up and stop, harassing people, doing things on purpose. It's like childish anymore. But that's what Satan reminds me of it. A younger brother who is really the older brother, but he's younger in mentality, and he just wants attention from his younger brother. I don't know, it's weird. It's a weird concept. What else we got? I'll have all this time to kill. A master of killing time. That's the thing about time. Time is my enemy. I love time. I would love to have more time. I would love to spend time with time. But time seems to run out. It doesn't go by fast when you're at work whatsoever. It never does. It always drags. And the moment you finally fall asleep, you wake up, it feels like 15 minutes later and 8 hours already went by. It's like, nah, that's not good. It's not cool. It's like it's pretty messed up how that works. Time flies by when you're relaxed and sleeping. I guess that's why heaven is like, it seems like it's 1,000 years as one day, because that's how fast time flies in heaven. But down here, boy, does it drag like a snail. Time goes so slow, just like this planned traffic jam, where all it takes is one gang stalker to listen to his boss and pull over to the side or block one lane and act like he ran out of gas. Or just street theater, accident placed in the way type of a thing. So I've also learned that it's not just with Jonathan Kleck, it's with multiple various things. But if I record anything and I have a parable next to it, somehow whoever I'm recording is going to be talking about what I'm what I'm recording. For the life of me, I can't figure out how they know that. How do you know? But it happens all the time. Even if I'm just, not even if I'm recording really, even if I'm at work, I'm just listening to something and I walk by something at the exact second that, let's say the Joker's talking, or he'll talk about something that I'm getting ready to see. Before I see it, no matter how old the video is or where I'm playing it at, it just has the ability to manifest itself live all the time. That's why I was thinking the next two videos I need to record. Is at the Philadelphia Art Museum. 2 songs. One of them, Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. And that song was made 1973. So that'll be interesting again to see when I go into the art museum and I record it, how the imagery is going to line up with my imagery. 3 years before I was born, their video is going to line up with my video that I haven't recorded yet. But I plan on recording it. I think the best time would be November 1st at around 1:11 p.m. It's that song, Waiting on a Friend, is the second song. I believe that was made in 1981. So about 5 years after I was born. I'm not sure what room I'm gonna go in. It seems like a red theme. Like a room with a lot of red in it. For the Sympathy for the Devil. Because that song is like, it's like 8 minutes. It's like 8 minutes long. The other one might be about 5. So I'm only going to be recording for maybe 15 minutes. So I'll start doing some test runs just to make sure all things are working, like the headphones, and see if it doesn't cut out on me or fail. Sometimes it'll fail. Like the X app, if I'm showing too many things, it'll fail, or flipping it around. I can't do that like I did in the beginning. But I'll test that. I think All Saints Day would be a good day to roll the stone, because 3 days later, let's see, All Saints Day, 3 days later, 3 full days, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, and then 3 full days would be November 5th at 1:11 a.m. Or, I'm sorry, 3.5 days. 3 full days will be Election Day. Time to cast your ballot. It's the final vote. It's we're gonna see which egg we're gonna choose, and the very first commercial that played, the very first video I made on 3/23/2023, it was about the Cadbury egg commercial with the little girl, and she chose both eggs. So November 5th 2024 is Election Day. November 1st, All Saints Day. It's the day after Halloween, when I met Roly Poly Oly, a Luciferian down by the river who lived in a van with a dog that Jonathan Kleck was saying they gave $5,000 van to. They did. Or they were going to. Maybe somebody else did. I don't know. And he's a follower of Jesus. So he doesn't follow his ways. He just follows the ways he goes. Like, in other words, he's a gang-stalking Luciferian liar. He's not a Christian at all. At all. He's just a follower, a gang-stalker of Jesus Christ. And so 111, yeah, 11/1/2024 at 1:11 p.m. is a good time to push the record button, or at least to start the song. I'm not sure which one I'm going to play first, whether it's Sympathy for the Devil or I'm Just Waiting on a Friend. Maybe it's I'm Waiting on a Friend first, because Mick Jagger has been waiting for me to record these 2 Rolling Stone videos so it symbolizes 3.5 days later, or 3 days later, the stone can be rolled from the tomb. It's time to vote. It's Election Day. The real voting is happening behind the scenes. Has nothing to do with Donald Trump, Kamala Harris. It's the actual election to choose the elect. Oh, 2 center lanes closed. Right. Road work after Girard Ave, so that's exactly where I got to get to. So right after Girard Ave, 2 center lanes. Can you imagine that? The 2 center lanes are closed. So that means everybody's going around. Yeah, perfect time to close the lanes, right? Road work. Gotcha. This 95 has never been completely, they're working on it all the time, and it's always just messed up. Unbelievable. All of a sudden. Yep. So anyway, the art museum, the next 2 songs. In the end, unless if I have another song. Do I have another one in mind? To make it 36 songs in the art museum? Nah, I think I'll keep it 35. 22 artists in the art museum. 24 artists altogether. Because Scorpion was outside the art museum, and so was Dream On from the other band. There's so many bands I forget their names at times. That's not the Rolling Stones, right? No, that's Mick Jagger. I mean, Aerosmith. There you go. I recorded Aerosmith, Dream On, Who's Gonna Ride My Wild Horses, U2, and Scorpion, Send Me an Angel. I recorded all 3 of those songs at Forbidden Drive, Wissahickon Park. I just wasted a half hour being on 95 it was clear when I was heading up here, but all of a sudden there's road work. So now here's another detour. So it's about a good hour of wasting time. So there's another hour's worth of work that's wasted. That's just the way this world is, ain't it? What are you gonna do? Suck it up, Buttercup. Take the detour and spend more time traveling and use more gas and so be it. So that would be 35 songs recorded in the art museum with 22 artists, but altogether, considering that everywhere I go is going to be a stall tactic. So in the art museum, I expect the same thing. Everything to stall, to be slowed up. But this time around, I'm going to really take my time and understand that it's whatever I decided to record is what they're going to use. So it's not like I got to find a specific room. Although I will. But whatever room I record them in, it's already been recorded. Because anybody can go and look up and watch the video from Scorpion. Or not Scorpion. Send Me an Angel. Not Send Me an Angel. That's the one in the... You can look up Sympathy for the Devil. And you'll see the video has already been made. And that song was back in 1973. So it was before I was born. What I plan on doing is I plan on bringing that video to life in my own life. Live. When I walk in there on All Saints Day. Or I don't even know if... I'm going to have to check the date. I don't even know what day it is. When is Halloween? It's not on the weekend, right? It should be open, All Saints Day. I'll find out. Go in there, record it. Record Waiting on a Friend from the Rolling Stones. I mean, I could even do it on election day itself. Maybe election day itself. Because 2 days later is 7/11. And Trump said he was there at 7/11 when the towers went down after he lost the election to Kamala Harris. He said that in his own way. Yeah, it's time to turn off. It's amazing how, it's just amazing. It's like, if I didn't have to go to work, time wouldn't even make a difference. I would care less about anything. That's the only thing it is. When you have to go somewhere and you don't really want to be there and you have to be there for 8 hours and then you got to do your thing. In order to get there, you really don't want to have like roads closed and roadblocks and stall tactics, and you don't really feel like going through it and people opening their door and just being there in front of you, pulling away, stopping, almost pulling away, pretending you're in their way when they're in your way. You don't really feel like going through all those things, but this is what it's like living in hell. I'm just making it, I'm just documenting it for those of you that, you know, 1,000 years from now, you can watch this video and be like, yeah, I remember that. I used to have to go through the same thing. It's not like the people doing it to me. It's not like you really want me to get sharpened by it. Because the minions, their thrill is to see you suffer. Because they don't have to suffer. You know why? Because you guys are in your little matrix bubble, in your own little world, plugged in. And you get off, literally, on people suffering. It's a sick, demented mindset, but when your father's the devil, that's how you're gonna think. You're gonna have no conscience. So it's not like you guys really want me to be sharpened by any of these things done on purpose. Matter of fact, when I went up to the one gang stalker that was at my wife's work, when he shouldn't have been parked there, and supposedly his wife was, you know, some job interview or something. Yeah. The people like Mark 18 Mod 0 and Agents Are People too, and what they were saying was they can't wait for my meltdown video. The one where I am finished, I'm done, I'm not doing it anymore, I can't stand it. They were waiting for that meltdown video. You know why? Because the best of the best gang stalking commanders came in my direction. They already destroyed anybody who tried to stand up to them. Their record was undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champions of the world, gang stalking created world. And I come along and they can't wait for this meltdown video. Guess what happened? I never melted down. You know why? Because you tried to form me into your own mold, but first I have to melt down in order to fit your mold. So the mold that I gave you was the mold of my middle finger. And then I just kept going at it and doing it, and still at the same time, and it's 7.5 years later, what do I have to show for it? Nothing really. I mean, I made a few $1,000s from the Walmart video. But I don't have anything to actually, you know, like physical. My life isn't easier. I don't take any less days off of work. I don't have any extra money, like disposable income. But what I do have is more power, more authority, more knowledge, more patience. And that's the main thing. I don't think I want to go there. That's the main thing you can get, is more, because knowledge is power, right? The more knowledge you have, the more power you've accumulated. This is why you should leave very, very early in the morning, Robin. Because it's just too much. Too many people in this place. Nobody even knows that we're in hell either. They think they're gonna go. Well, maybe they, you know what, that's funny. I guess people do go to hell when they die. If they don't find the truth or they're free, when you die, yeah, you're going to go to hell. Because you know what happens in hell? You get recycled, you lose your memory, you start all over again on planet Earth in hell, and if you die again and you don't straighten up and find Christ in your life, you're going to repeat, your memory's going to be erased, you're going to come back to hell, and you're going to start over. So technically Satan's right. Technically he's not lying. He's just not telling you the truth. Because what he's saying is you're going to go to hell when you die, but he's not telling you that this is hell. Because hell is when you're eternally separated from God. It's like the Trinity. You're separated from it. You don't know it. You're not a part of it. And if you lose your memory, how are you going to remember next time? Like, oh wait, see, that's what's also not fair when Satan has you first. If that's the case, you know, if you die and you come back here, or once everybody dies, they go to heaven, because this is the boot camp, military, scared straight program that God put in place, where Satan can only torment you your entire life. That's it. Once you're done, you live in eternity without Satan in it. He's gone. Don't let me get in charge and find out what it's like, because I'll tell the truth and everybody will be set free. But I guess that's why Satan doesn't want me to speak. But he can't shut me up. Hold on there, buddy. Meaning, for this past 7.5 years, what have I been doing? I've been babbling on a lot. There's times where I'm just driving, I'll record. It's a ventilation system. I'm getting it out of my system. I'm flushing it out. I'm also helping whoever is interested in feeding me back the information. Jonathan Click seems to be that main one that out of everybody on planet Earth, under the earth, above earth, that spirit, that soul behind that channel has communicated with me more than I've ever thought. All in spirit too. I never talked to Jonathan Click in person or over the phone. He did comment, but he was making fun of me because I was saying that, you know, May 21st, 2011, tribulation started. Yeah, start walking when it turns red. Can I solve the homeless problem? Over time I can. First thing I do, I cut off all drugs. Yeah, all of them. That way nobody can get hooked on anything. Like the hardcore stuff. The stuff that makes you sell your soul for a dime. Like crack, heroin, ecstasy, and smack and crack and all that stuff. Once you get rid of that, people aren't all strung out. Once they're not strung out anymore, then more people are willing to get up and go to work. But that guy's not going to make it, because he's stuck. But if that drug that he's on isn't within reach anymore, because what does the government care? Do they care about you down here? No, hell no, of course not. That's why they flood. That's why this is the heroin hub capital of the world. I'm literally driving through the #1 heroin capital of the world on planet Earth. Here it is. It happens to be my hometown. I used to live right here. Throughout, you know, within a radius of 2 miles around, but close to the L. Picked on, harassed, because we're the new family on the block, and that's how it starts first. You got to get rid of the, you got to cut off the flow. Just like with Satan, how is it that I'm clearing the airwaves on the YouTube platform when everybody thinks that I'm going to disappear and leave, but it's the exact opposite? How do you think I'm clearing the airwaves? By cutting off the head of the serpent and letting that tail flicker and wither away, because the tail is what the lies come from. So you got to cut off the head of the serpent. Once you cut off the flow of lies, the YouTube platform, the airwaves, becomes clean. Same thing with drugs in America. In the world itself, you cut off the flow of where it comes from. And then over time, you know, you'll go through withdrawal, whatever, but once it's out of sight, it's out of mind. Once it's like when you're in jail. Freedom isn't something that you have. So get it out of your mind, because it's nowhere in sight. If you yearn for freedom while you're in prison, it's only going to make your time go by slower and worse. Yeah. I was planning on being here at 9:15. Looks like that's not going to take place. It's okay, Satan. I'm already getting you back. That's why you attack me so much. Because you already know the future. Do people teach that at the churches, that Satan doesn't know your entire life inside and out, and only God does? Well, then God must be Satan then, huh? The Gangstalk Corporation can't be so precise unless they know your every move before you even make a move. They'll set a truck in front of you with the same word that you said before you even see the truck with the word that you just said beforehand. All right, well, I'm finally here.